Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Here is another update on the yard modules. A few things that I forgot about and have been working on is the first is we have a pocket underneath that the legs bolt onto. And I knew about them, but I didn't realize the plan was a little different when I made it out. And when we adjusted it, I forgot about that. And so the plan is I've carved out a little bit of the cork to allow me to add feeders to these tracks and get the wires from this micro switch up and over to here so that we can feed everything through here and come in over here where there's less things that can get damaged from, or the wires can get damaged from. So that's what I've done there. The other thing is when we were laying the track, I forgot to carve out some of the cork here for the tubing and then music wire. It's going to throw this switch back and forth like what we have here. If it'll play nice, of course it won't, because there we go. So I'm going to probably get that done. That's probably going to be the last that I do out here tonight or today, just because a front is moving in. It's starting to get a little cold in here, but we'll see. The other thing that I did was grabbed the bag that I have some of my joiners for the modules in and snagged some rail joiners that I had in there. So that is got this put in permanently, and then that allowed me to get this piece of flex track done up so that all that's left now for track work is the 2 feet or so to the switch, and then the little piece after it to get it to our standard, which is bringing it in 1.5 inches from the edge of the bench work. So that is where we're at as of now. I'm going to at least keep working as much as I can, at least get this put in. I don't know how much further I'll get. I do have some buildings that I can start working on, and of course the dwarf signals. So I may end up just working on that tonight, or today and tonight, and just call it. So we'll see how much we get and be back with another update. All right, we're back with the yard modules. And as you can see, the last of the track is put down and glued. I got the last switch in today, got it glued in, got this little end piece done up. We decided to do this so that the switches weren't right here on with the joiner track. That way, if something happens, these pieces will get damaged, and those are a lot easier to replace than switch. So that's kind of where we're at with that. The other thing is I left this a little longer than the 1.5 inch space that is needed for here. So there's a little less than 1.5 inches. And that's mainly because I knew I could file this track back or even cut it back. And I didn't want to have an accident and try and add track or even replace it. So just left that like that. So easy enough to file back. I've also gone through and all of the push pins are out of the track. There is some remnants that I do need to get the vacuum out here and vacuum up, but it's getting a little cold out here because of the storm. And I figure I'll just wait and vacuum all of it up once I drill the holes for the feeders, and that should be tomorrow. Another thing that I worked on today was getting the full platform printed out. I did cut it in half so that it would be printing vertically, as it just seemed to be printing better. Less chance of it warping like the first print that I did. And so the plan is for this that I've gone through and have cut the ramp and the steps off to add more filler pieces to it. Some of those will have platform covers, the roofs. Some of them won't. They'll just be open. I'm kind of bouncing back and forth between having it be 4 feet and 6 feet long. Either way, it'll straddle the module really nicely and give a good kind of block, but I'm not sure what I want to do fully. And who knows, it may just be that it lays on one side of the module or not. The other thing is I did decide what I was going to ballast the track, or how I was going to ballast the track. So the main lines, this one and this one back here, will be the gray that most of the club is using. That's what's kind of standard around here with Union Pacific, and that's what a lot of people have used. But then for the yard tracks, well, here comes a jet, so give me a second for it to fly by. One of the perks of living by a Air Force base is you hear jets flying by every now and then. But so main yard track or main line tracks will be gray, like what most of the club is using. The yard tracks, though, I'm doing something different that isn't really in our area, and using this fine iron ore ballast for 2 reasons. One, like I said, it isn't really common around here. And 2, it will be something very different to differentiate between mainline and yard tracks. That way it'll help if you're looking this way and you're 20 feet down from the this area running your train, or even 10 feet. You'll be able to see if you're lined up right that way, but then also there'll be the dwarf signals, but just a little bit more to say, hey, I'm on a yard track or I'm on the main line. So that's where we're at. Like I said, it's getting a little chilly out here, so we'll leave it at that. I'm going to work on some stuff inside that I've got to do, and then we'll be back with a bigger update when I have some more done. All right, an update on the yard modules. I've only been working on this module, the right side of it, tonight just because of time, but I did get all of the main bus lines ran for it, and that is the red line, the yellow line, and then the blue line, which will be all of the yard tracks. Unfortunately, I'm at a standstill for the yard tracks, as I need a connector that I've got on order, and I've just got to wait for those to come in. So that's where we're at for that. And I need to figure out some things with these toggle switches, as each of these is going to be along the front with some recessed fascia panels. I'm going to 3D design and print those. I made some of these washers to see which size will fit on the bolt piece of the toggle switch. I originally had printed it out as a 6mm hole, and forgot that these were 6mm wide screws, and of course it didn't work. So I've got a 7 and 8, and just see which one will work best for that. I did, however, get all of the feeders soldered and put in for the red line and the yellow line, plus all of the frog feeders for the switches. On this switch, or on these switches, the challenge with them is that there is braces that go and create an L right here. And on this side of the L, I guess like this, there's a foot right, or a leg right here. And I can't really drill the feeders down to, go down here, because putting the leg in and out will cause it some issues. So I just went and did a central hole and fed everything down there. And then as far as the toggle switch, or not the toggle switch, but the double pole, double throw switch, micro switch that will do the turnout, I'm just going to carve out a recess and then drill a hole going this way so that I can feed all the wires, through the leg or the brace that's right here, and the legs won't interfere at all with it. So the other thing is I'm going to either just glue these down, or I'm leaning about putting some conduit, either it being some styrene or 3D printing something to hide the wires, make it look like it belongs there. We'll see. I want to keep this as clean as I can, but obviously I had some restrictions that I couldn't do. Lastly, that thing that I've been also working on is just letting the printer go wild, and was able to print 4 of these at once. And I've got a 5-foot passenger platform. And what I'm going to do is, at first I thought of just breaking it up and, having pieces that store inside. And then I remembered that there's going to be plenty of space just to leave them glued on. And we'll just get them and put them right there so it lines up with the crack in between the modules, and then just glue them on and have at it, and it won't matter. So of course I will ballast the track first just to make it clean. So that's where we're at. Today and tomorrow I'm probably, or not today because it's getting late, but the next couple days I'm going to focus on the 3D design for the stuff. Mainly because I want to just keep working if I'm wiring up. And to do that, I kind of want a weekend, and I'll have the connector for the yard tracks by that point. So that's where we're at, and we'll be back with an update when I get some more done.